All right. Um, Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us for this very special live stream here on the Chitlin Circuit. Uh, my name is Justin. I'm one of the writers for the Chitlin Circuit, and with us is our producer Sean. Please say hello, sir.
Hello there.
All right. And also, we have a special guest with us. She is a fellow YouTuber. Her name is KB. Please say hello to the people out there.
Hi. Thank you guys so much for having me on the Chitlin Circuit today.
Oh no, thank you for coming. So today on our live stream, we're going to be talking about, did the Snyder Cut give any justice to its black characters? Of course, this would be because of the tweets that were sent out by Ray Fisher, who played Cyborg in the movie. And then I'm just gonna, there's five of them. I'm only gonna read the first one because, well, it speaks volumes for what we're talking about today. And it goes like this. Apparently, some folks at Warner Media, think that a room full of executives saying we can't have an angry black man at the center of the movie and then reducing slash removing all black and people of color from the movie isn't racist. That's wow. That, like I said, that speaks volume. KB, do you have a comment on that one or?
Um, I adore Ray Fisher. I should start off by saying, as Cyborg, I think that he does a fantastic job. It's really unfortunate that we will not get to see him expanded in this role in any additional films. I hate that Ray actually had to be the one to be the whistleblower. When we talk about being anti-racist in this current environment and in all forms of corporate America and even in media, it would be nice to have a white person be the whistleblower. And to say,
Yeah.
you know what, those comments were not right. They were racist. They were rude. They were discriminatory. To step up and say those things, because as you know,
Mm-hmm.
oftentimes when people of color, specifically black people, are the whistleblowers in these scenarios, we take on the brunt of the backlash, and then it
Yeah.
causes us to lose our jobs and our opportunities, and then also, in a sense, it becomes traumatic, and then we no longer want to speak up when these types of things happen to us. So I am
Mm-hmm.
proud of Ray for speaking up, and Ray has gotten some support from his cast members. They were
Mm-hmm.
participatory in the investigation that ensued after. I really hope
Mm-hmm.
some real change comes, but most importantly, I hope that Ray Fisher works again, because he
Yes.
deserves to
As
work again, and he's a good actor. So,
Oh yeah. I For me personally, I just remember that because of I want to say the original Justice League, I had a chance to meet Ray Fisher because he came to my state. He was at WizardCon and he came down, and him also and Ezra Miller. And when I saw that they were on the list, I was like, I don't want to meet these people. I was like, that movie sucks. Like, why do I want to meet them? And it just, after I saw the Snyder Cut, I'm just like, oh my god, I would have loved to have had Ray Fisher's autograph, you know? And so in terms like that, it just, like, you the representation that's on screen, it just makes it look like the character of Cyborg isn't cool. You know what I mean? The character of Cyborg isn't something that people want to see more of, right? And I think partial of that is the way he's represented in the original cut of the movie. Um, but yeah, so we're just, was there anything else that wanted to say on the Josh Whedon, Ray Fisher front?
not really. I mean, I will say it seems, kind of based on Ray standing up and, being bold enough to come out with this, that a few
Hmm.
other people have followed suit. And I was a huge Buffy fan, and Charisma
As we're
Carpenter came
as
out as
everybody else.
well.
Yeah.
Right. And so,
Mhm.
it seems as though this behavior is not new for Josh Whedon, just based on the information that has been provided in this regard. And so, yeah, I will I did not like the Josh Whedon original Justice League cut, and we'll get into Zack Snyder's, but I will say I appreciate Zack Snyder just maintaining the integrity of Cyborg in a lot of different ways. And, kind of historically,
Hmm.
this character, when it comes to either features or TV shows, we're not entirely. I will say Doom Patrol gets it right, and I do appreciate Zack Snyder's Justice League Cyborg as well.
Thank you. Yes, I love Doom Patrol is one of my favorite shows. And then the other last thing I guess on the Joss Whedon front would be um I guess if we had looked at the history of how he treated like two of his black characters in both Angel and Buffy, Kendra, she died in 2 episodes, and then Gunn was essentially just the angry black kid that lived in LA. I don't know, something inside me feels like these things were kind of right in front of us the whole time. It just took somebody like Ray Fisher to point it out to all of us, and then you get to be able to see the track record. Um, but the so the first character we're going to move on to is Sean. Would you like to introduce her? A short amount of time, but still, even with that short amount of time, in Zack Snyder's cut of the film, she does more than she did in the Josh Whedon cut. As far as I remember, in the Josh Whedon cut, literally Steppenwolf comes in there, takes it, and runs.
Yeah, like
It
I
kind of
actually
looks like they didn't
don't
even
I
put up a
don't
battle.
remember the Amazons. Yeah, I don't remember the Amazons having a huge fighting scene, there being a lot of back and forth in the Josh Whedon cut. I kind of just remember it being like, I'm gonna snatch this and I'm gonna move on to the next scene. So,
Yep, he just acquired them really fast, like just yoink, thank you. But I mean, even again, the Zack Snyder cut, I mean, the only criticism I have about it is the music background and everything was moving kind of slowly. But other than that, I mean, again, it actually showed like the power of the Amazon women, and also like the fact that they just didn't take just Steppenwolf coming in there lying down, I guess, is what I want to say. And
And also
like I
that
said, like
character
yeah,
was a oh sorry, and also that character was a part of the battle with Darkseid in the flashback, so that was also cool that she was actually included in that.
okay, cool. I did not notice that. That is and then just as a side from the she also piece of trivia plays General Zod's grandmother in the ill-fated Krypton show, which only lasted 2 seasons. But it's just a little side trivia. But yeah, I mean, I think she's a great actress. She's a badass, and yeah, I think she's wonderful.
yeah, I mean, I personally, would prefer to see more of her in the Wonder Woman franchise. Like that would have been something, to behold. I think that that's another
Mhm.
area, not just in Justice League, but in Wonder Woman, they don't really center the Amazonians of color as well. So I'm
No, they
hoping
don't.
with this third one that they start to do. Then it was good to kind of see, Zack Snyder's iteration feature more Amazon women of color, specifically Philippus. But
Yes, yes, definitely. I mean, I did not know she was a character from the comic books. Which again goes to show you how she was, when you see certain characters, you're like, oh, well, that must be a character from the source material. But then other times you're like, oh, that's just a know nothing character. And it was actually interesting to find out that she was an actual, comic book character. So I thought that was amazing. Um, and then so to moving on to the next uh classic character that got no respect that got no appearance whatsoever in the original cut of the movie. Um, how how do we pronounce her name, Sean? Again, I yeah, don't want to mess this up.
it's
Kier,
Kiersey.
Kier,
You talking
Kiersey
about
Clement.
Kirstie
Kirsty? Okay,
Clemens? Yeah,
Kirsty.
Kirstie.
Yeah,
Kirstie, no
Kirsty
T.
Clemens.
Yeah, no
Um,
T.
oh, okay. She played, and she was Iris West in the movie. The one of the scenes that was completely just cut out was a scene introing the Flash, introing his powers, and during that scene, he saves a black girl like from a car, like during a car accident, and we can only assume that that is Iris West, the classic love of Barry Allen's life. And when I say classic, I mean Barry Allen and Iris West are up there with like Lois Lane and Clark Kent up there with Batman and Catwoman. That's how her status is, and they just completely cut that part out of the movie, and that is very disheartening. That's just sad, really, in my opinion. I'm a huge Flash fan, that's why. Um, and
Yeah.
yeah, it was very sad.
I mean, I will say I still feel like in the Snyder Cut, um, that this Iris West scene still just wasn't, I guess, as prominent as I would hope. You know, to your point, they are an iconic couple. I'm a
Hmm.
huge fan of the Flash TV show, and you know, as we know, Candace Patton really opened the door for a Black woman to be in this
She did.
role. And
Hmm.
you know, not only did Josh Whedon kind of cut that out of the first film, but I kind of also feel like with the Snyder Cut, thank you, Snyder, for placing it in, because I do think it was important seeing Cyborg and the Flash and Aquaman. Actually, all three of those characters we had no knowledge of going into the very first Justice League, right? This was their character introduction into the DCEU. And so we
Yeah,
did need
yeah.
some background. So what I appreciate about the Snyder Cut is that there is additional background about Cyborg and there is additional background about the Flash. But I wish it could have been more. You know, there still just wasn't enough time for me in that scene with Iris. And
Hmm.
I actually like this actress in a lot of other work and projects that she's been in. But I can't say
Hmm.
that, you know, like I can't say anything about her acting abilities in this one scene because it was like basically all in slow
Yeah, she had
motion
no
and it happened
lines.
so quickly. Yeah,
Yeah,
and it
she
happened
had no
so
lines.
quickly.
That
So I'm just like, okay. But what it does give me is a little bit of hope for the Flash film. So, you know, I admittedly actually was not that excited about this Flash film. And I'm still heated that Cyborg is not going to be in it, but I will still watch it.
Hmm.
And so I am curious to kind of see how they really flesh out Iris's character moving forward. But in this film, you know, I appreciate Zach for even just attempting to add her back in because yeah, obviously they're just I love representation. I love seeing Black women on screen. Like I appreciate it,
Hmm.
but it still just wasn't enough. And so I'm curious to see kind of going forward what they do in the DCEU with this particular character.
Yeah, definitely. And the other part, well, to add to that, was again, as you were saying, it's sad that Cyborg's not going to be in the next Flash movie, mainly because they referenced Victor during his one scene in Crisis on Infinite Earths when he made his cameo. He mentions Victor, which is like they're obviously still hanging out with each other. There's obviously still friends, and the fact that he's not going to be in it, it just makes it all the more disheartening. My hope is that they will replace him with the gentleman from Doom Patrol, but that's just wishful thinking. Um,
You know,
so
I
oh.
will say something that they don't do well. Something that they do not do well is tying in the TV shows to the films. I'm hoping
No.
that changes. So to your point, I love when they do dual casting, but I doubt they'll do
Hmm.
it. But I love when they do it. But we'll see kind of moving forward how they're going to tie in the TV shows to the film. Yeah.
Oh yes. So moving on to the our next character. He's played by Harry Lennox. I can read that one, I think. And he plays so in this movie, or in the Snyder cut, he plays Martian Manhunter. But in Man of Steel and Batman v Superman, it's because the Martian Manhunter has the ability to do those things. Shapeshift. He plays General Swanwick. Is that sound? Yeah, that's Swanwick sounds right. And so again, another character that was just completely cut out of the original cut of the movie. And what sucks about this one mainly is because that his inclusion in this movie explains why we were focusing on him at all during Man of Steel and Batman v Superman. Like it now it's like, oh, that's why that character matters. But again, just another completely just cut directly out. He said, nope, don't have time to do it, even though we built this character up for 2 films. And again, shitty.
Yeah, I still think so. For me, I think the biggest point of contention with Martian Manhunter in Zack Snyder's Justice League is the fact that like the scene with Lois, oh my gosh, that didn't make any sense to me. Like I don't think that that was
Thank
teed
you.
up very well when he
It
goes
wasn't.
to Lois as Martha, and I was just kind of like, oh, and then Lois and when Lois and the real Martha have a conversation later on, they don't even talk about it, and it was pretty pivotal conversation. I mean, in my opinion, from Lois's perspective, where she's basically telling her, you need to move on with your life, you need to just move forward, but they never talk about it
Hmm.
again, and it's very awkward when he leaves the apartment and you're like, wait a minute, okay, so what was the point of that? So I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like when we get to the end and we see Bruce waking up from that dream and Martian
Hmm.
Manhunter appears at his door, I'm like, oh, I really liked that scene.
Hmm.
Maybe that should
Yeah.
have come
That
before he
scene
went
made
to talk
sense.
to Lois. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I was like,
I mean,
oh,
there's that.
maybe we should have introduced him before just letting him show up to Lois's house. Like,
Just be like, hey, I'm Martian Manhunter. Hello. It's like, wait a minute. Where were you like a couple of hours ago when
Also,
we
how
were
did he know
doing
that
stuff?
Martha's house was foreclosed? I'm just curious about that part. How did he know?
how do you know anything? Because how do
Um,
you even know where Batman's secret home is? Like, I mean, you just showed up like you've been there before. Like, hey, anyway, I'm Martian
he's
Manhunter.
just been in.
Like, what?
Wait, because Martian Manhunter can go invisible, right? Oh, last I checked, I think I'm trying to remember Justice League. But it's like, wait, maybe he's just spying on everybody. Not doing anything. He didn't help us with Doomsday. He didn't help us with Steppenwolf. He was probably going to help us with Darkseid. He was just like, yeah, I'm over here. Hello.
He didn't do anything. He just helped have a conversation for like Lois to move on in her grief and then came to
Yeah,
Batman's house. And it was
which
like, wait,
is,
what?
I mean, you're right. That kind of does take away from the impact of like actual Martha talking to Lois and like the relationship that they're supposed to have. I mean, but it's a lot better than the conversation about how she lost her house, which is silly because Bruce could have helped her with that. But moving on.
What I
Well, I
read
mean, and
It's
then
was
we
just,
see that Bruce did, he did because he just ended up buying the bank. But I will say Harry Lennox is an iconic black actor. Like he's been in a lot of things that, and content that I've watched. And so it's great to see him as Martian Manhunter if we get more of it. And so for me,
yeah.
I'm like, that final scene with Batman is cool and all, but are we just going to discard Martian Manhunter like we're doing Cyborg in the next Flash film? Because
The
technically they
also
haven't said
Harry.
that they're going to recast Cyborg. They just said Cyborg will not be in
Yeah.
the film. So, well, they said Ray Fisher wouldn't be in the film. So I'm not even sure they're going to recast. So what does this mean for Martian Manhunter going forward in the DCEU? Like again, in DC TV, Martian Manhunter has a very prominent role on
In
Supergirl
Supergirl.
and has been
Yes,
involved in a
exactly.
lot of the crossovers. Right. So
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know. I have no idea.
I also with Harry Lennox, I was because I watched Batman v Superman a couple weeks ago again. I was like, oh, this is sort of kind of a reunion of him and Lawrence Fishburne from The Matrix Reloaded. But that was an interesting tidbit.
Yes.
I was like, oh, that's crazy. And
Yes. I can't
yeah,
believe you rewatched Batman v Superman though. I will never.
I did. I am the I sorry. I will do I'm the kind of person that I will do the homework. Not that I hadn't seen the movie, right? But like I will do the homework of going, okay, like let me watch this to remember this, that, and the next thing. And yeah, I like the hate. Just like, yeah, yes.
I
So
was
then
I was
moving
almost
on
triggered. I was
oh sorry.
almost triggered in this film. Well, I was saying I was almost triggered in this film. Just when I heard the name Martha, I was like, oh my gosh. I was like,
I
your
was
last thing
I was
on
really
Harry
mad when I
Lennox,
was like
Justin. I will say, from what I read, Snyder wanted it to be Green Lantern at the end, and the studio refused.
yes.
So he just shoehorned Martian Manhunter in. So that's why it feels so left and random.
See, the inclusion of the Green Lantern would have made sense mainly because you teased that at the beginning of the movie, or when you showed the war beforehand. That would have made a lot more sense. Uh But yeah, like Green. I don't understand why the Green Lantern wasn't in it, but moving on. Um, so the next person we're moving to, and in my opinion, arguably the person that, along with Cyborg losing out the most, this would be the second to person that was like his storyline was just completely altered and changed. Which is Joe Morton. Morton. How did we swap out the story of, all right, cool. So yeah, you're gonna go in there and you're gonna do this thing. It's gonna be a big traumatic, like, thing between you and your son, and then you're gonna like sacrifice yourself for him, and it's gonna be really impactful. How do we go from that to, all right, cool. So what you're gonna do is nothing. Go. Just nothing. Fucking nothing.
Well, apparently it's easy to do with the first, cut of Justice League, which basically essentially was just a Lex Luthor film when we boil it down to everything, which I think is hilarious that we're getting the Snyder Cut, and Zach immediately cut Lex. Like it was in the first scene. I was like, no, we're not doing this.
You said out
storyline. Right. But yeah, you're right. I mean, I think that like the heart for me, the heart of Zack Snyder's Justice League is supposed to be Cyborg and Victor's storyline. Like it's supposed to be, this is the storyline that we came here for. And Silas is a huge part of that because it is a lot of the contention in their relationship and how ultimately, Silas saves his son, but he also damages their relationship by essentially turning him into the cyborg just to save him after his wife's death. And so I think that that's the heart of this story. And Joe Morton is an iconic actor, of course, we know. And, this was probably really a lot of Papa Pope from Scandal's origin story. He's probably bringing a lot of that pain and that ferocity over to Silas Stone in a lot of ways. But I just will say that, I appreciate Zach for trying to rectify what was wrong. And, something that always will stick out for me is that when these actors signed up to be in Justice League, quite frankly, they signed up for Zach's vision. And Zach's vision is very clear in this. And it's unfortunate, obviously the unimaginable happened and tragedy happened and he did have to step away from the project. But it's wild to me that the studio didn't, I understand kind of allowing new directors their creative freedom, but there just was I felt like Josh didn't keep the integrity of the film in so many ways. Like, and what, kind of
didn't.
The idea was supposed to be. So it's good that Silas was in this film. I'm still mad that they killed him, though. Like, I'll never be okay with that. I didn't think the character death was necessary. Like, I thought we could have gotten more from Silas and Victor in that regard. But I did not make this film, and I am not in charge yet. So when I do become in charge,
she said
resurrect
yet.
Silas, but
yet. What we traded, instead of his death, obviously what we get more, not only, I don't even want to say fan service. Josh Whedon was great at the fan service, right? And this will lead into the next person we're going to talk about, which is Ray Fisher directly. But what we got from his cut of the movie was, okay, cool. So Silas isn't going to die. And then at the end of the movie, we're going to see Cyborg change the thing on his chest to the traditional Cyborg symbol. We all cool with that? All right, cool. So take all the emotional impact out of this and give this more fan service. Like, that'll make people smile. Or, let's completely cut the end of the movie. And, you have to say booyah. But I just lost my father. You have to say booyah. But I just did all these important booyah. Get it done. And then I actually, because I rewatched the ending with a friend of mine, and I took the perfect still of it. When he says booyah, the look on his face is just of nothing but tired and angry and just like, why am I saying this? It's it's actually just that the one still is actually pretty crazy. Yeah, if you ever like if you want to like stomach through that film again, nobody should. But yeah, and again, just in more fan service.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing though. I think that you can tell a compelling story and appeal to the fans. And I just feel like it shouldn't have to be one or the other. There are ways to write a compelling film and keep the character's integrity while also doing fan service. And, quite frankly, the first Justice League cut did not do that. um, playing only to fans just is not helpful if the writing is inconsistent. And, there
Yeah,
were so many parts of that original film where I was like, I don't even understand what's happening. Like, how did we get from point A to point C? There is no B. So I'm confused about like how we ended up here. And so watching Zack Snyder's cut, kind of fills in those gaps in a lot of ways. Like, oh, this is what it was supposed to be. But I'm not going to say that Zach's film is perfect. I don't have to kill Silas. We don't even have to do this. Like, we can, I mean, Silas is also brilliant, so we could use Silas's mind, I mean, for a lot of other
hmm
things moving forward. But yeah, it just, I just wish, I wish that we were getting a full and complete standalone Cyborg film. That's really what I wish. And,
yeah.
we could have Zach as a consulting producer, but it would need to be written by a black man, personally,
Like the reason I wanted
or
the
a
reason
black
I
woman.
would be excited to see what's up? Oh,
Oh,
black.
I
Oh
said
yeah, I
just
did hear
it,
that.
it needs to be written by a black man or a black woman, but yeah.
Yeah, but the what I would be excited for, um, in a solo cyborg film, would be more of I guess what I saw as the relationship between Cyborg and his dad that's in Doom Patrol, right? Because in that you actually get to see that like the accident that killed his mom was caused by Victor being like a hothead and blowing up the lab and whatnot. And then you get to see more of the back and forth between him and his dad. But then to speak to your point about the inconsistencies, I'm pretty sure that during that little snippet of Cyborg in Batman v Superman, Cyborg is actually like his body is like completely gone, right? Like, or mostly
Mm.
gone,
Hmm.
which to me was like, I was like, okay, cool. So they're gonna do the origin story of like, the same thing with the lab accident and whatnot. And even like you were saying, even Zach got the one like, no, we're gonna have a car accident. What? Okay. I mean, not that scene wasn't
Right.
really cool,
Right.
particularly with the football scene, but it's like, what? And then uh, and like yes, you can have like both fan service and a good compelling story, but even with the booyah part, that's not only are you are appealing to fans, but you're also appealing to fans of a certain age. Because correct me if I'm wrong, he didn't start saying that until the Teen Titans cartoon, right? Yeah. So
Yeah, I
now,
have only
not
seen
only
Cyborg say it on Teen Titans.
yeah. So it's like you're only now appealing to fans of a certain age, which is great for this really a not a I don't want to say for all intents and purposes, somewhat of an
No,
adult
it's a pretty
version
adult
of
film.
yeah.
It's an adult film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like so thanks, Josh. It's crazy. Um, but no,
Yeah.
I
I mean,
just
I'll
rate
say overall, I do applaud Zack Snyder's efforts in trying to
yes.
do the black and brown characters justice within this film.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I still don't think it's perfect. One point of that is that, Aquaman, I will say that Aquaman pretty much got the shaft though in terms of background story. So,
Yeah.
like, we don't know anything about Aquaman, and they just kind of threw him in there and all of these additional characters that people watching this for the first time with no context of Aquaman will be confused by. So that's something that didn't go over well, but I appreciate, and maybe Zach did that strategically because an Aquaman
He got the next
standalone film
movie.
was already greenlit.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
with Cyborg, we deserved more and we needed more and we still deserve more, but I feel like it was a good start.
Yes, exactly. And so now we're gonna move on to the, I guess, the last final part. We're gonna go through some. Sean, you're gonna show us some memes on TikTok about some stuff.
Yeah, did you guys see Leslie Jones's commentary on the movie? Did you guys check? Did you see that,
Mm-mm.
Yes,
Justin? I said,
because Zach responded at one point on Twitter.
Ooh.
I guess he watched. I guess he watched her videos of her watching, what she did. I think it's like hashtag a long ass film is what she
yeah,
what
that
she
was her
tagged it
hashtag.
as. So he responded on Twitter to that. But literally people were dying because they were like, "Oh, she's just saying everything that I'm thinking while watching this film," and not all of it was complimentary. And I love that Zach still, responded.
Well, I mean, I love when I don't understand when directors are going to understand that like it's probably not best to do that. Um, I know one of my favorite memes that a friend sent me was it says Marvel, movies that are 3 hours long. This says like Martin Scorsese, right? And then under it says Zack Snyder, and then it's just a quote from Matthew McConaughey from um The Wolf of Wall Street. And he's like, yo, gotta pump those numbers up. He said those are cookie numbers. It's like, yeah, that was awesome. He
Yeah,
said those are
no, I
cookie
think
numbers, my guy.
I feel like now because Zach has done this 4 hour production, more people are now kind of requesting the original cut of Black Panther, which allegedly was 4 hours. And so, I feel like more fans are going to start requesting this. But I will say, I will never feel like 4 hours should stand. I don't care how much I enjoyed Zack Snyder's Justice League. It was too long, and I think that's why I appreciate him responding to Leslie Jones, because it was like it was a positive response. It wasn't negative, but I appreciate that he knows, like, okay, Zach, now listen, I appreciate that you're trying to do these characters justice, but if we could do it in 3 hours or less,
Like,
I mean,
be
please,
great.
please. And don't get me wrong, Zack Snyder makes gorgeous films. Like, I think that's one of the reasons why I enjoy him as a director, because they really are stunning. The cinematography
Hmm.
is generally just gorgeous, but please, please, I don't need another 4 hour saga. Like, I don't.
This is how a friend of mine put it, and I was like, when he says it was, I thought I agreed with him so much. So watching a Marvel movie is like getting a single issue of a comic book, right? You have the single issues that obviously build up to like the major storyline, right? However, DC movies, more specifically Zack Snyder movies, the DC movies, are like reading a graphic novel. They're going to be like the artist, the art's going to be top notch, and it's just going to be a long ass story that will get to a point, but like there's a reason why you read this entire big graphic novel of a book. Um, and yeah, that's how he put it. I was like, wow, that makes a lot of sense when you put it that way. It's just,
Yeah, yeah. The art is always stunning in a Zack Snyder production. The one thing though I do have a point of contention about is just I don't need any more flash slow motion scenes. I don't. Every single time, I
we
don't need
got
it.
none of
I
them.
don't.
Got none of them in the other one. But no, I've never
I
actually
know, and
seen the
then we
Leslie
got
Jones
all
thing.
of them, and I'm like, just give me a balance. Just give me a balance. I don't need all of them to be in slow motion. I don't need none of them to be in slow motion. But if you could just toss me like two, I'm cool with that. But man,
This is awesome. This is,
But yeah, we have a couple of the Leslie Jones clips, Justin. This one is her
okay.
reacting to the end of the movie after they defeat Steppenwolf and they're all triumphant at the top of the tower. The reshot scene. This is
And
reaction
there's no
to that.
flowers.
Yes, that exact scene. So
It started off rough. It started off rough. You know, I didn't think y'all was gonna pull it off. But in the end, you practice together, you talk together, and it still wasn't real good, but since Superman joined you and he kind of helped you out, I mean, y'all was doing good before he got there, but I'm just saying. Thank God he got there.
She's not wrong. She's not wrong. I mean,
It's like, thank God we got there. We got there though. We got there.
Yeah, but without Superman, everything would have crumbled in this film. I mean, to be honest, because they were, getting their behinds handed to them.
Yeah.
But yes,
I mean, it's a lot better than him showing up and being like, "Oh, I'm a believer in truth and in justice," and I was like, "Fuck this movie." Sorry.
All right. The next Leslie Jones clip is her reacting to Darkseid plotting on invading Earth.
Mm-hmm.
So we ain't did shit. We ain't even stopped. We just stopped the one time. Decide, fuck you and your scarf. Fuck you and your scarf. Lady! Is that a lady? That's a lady.
Goodness.
Some kind of warrior? They all giants or some shit. They room filled with evil motherfuckers just waiting. Lord, have mercy. We need 17 Supermans. They just waiting. Lord.
We need 17 Supermans.
She said, "Who's the human woman?" Awesome. She's funny.
My goodness.
And now they have her hosting a supermarket show. Anyway.
All right. Last Leslie Jones clip.
Listen. I will say Supermarket Sweep is a gem, and it used to be one of my favorite shows as a child. So, Leslie, yes, we can take her talents other places, but we cannot discredit the fun that is Supermarket Sweep either.
Yeah, true.
All right, this last one is her reacting to Batman's last nightmare dream.
Okay.
The last one right before the end of the movie.
Okay, now you wake up from a dream like that. The next call is to Superman. Hey, man, can you come over real quick? I just had a real fucked up dream. Like, seriously, we need to talk that shit out. Like, we need to talk that shit out. Something gonna happen, cuz. I don't know what it is, but something gonna happen, homie. Like, for real. Like, we need to talk, man. Can we fucking talk? Man, fuck.
So
Listen,
two things.
Her
One,
reaction.
No, continue. Sorry. Continue.
Oh, no, I was saying, listen, her reaction is spot on because I remember thinking, well, two things. One, why is the Joker here? Do we need this? And two, I was like, if you have beef with Superman, then we need to work this out because y'all are friends in our minds at the end of this movie. So what's happening?
I was thinking so first of all, we need to call him. You can just be like, "Yo, Clark." Like, he can hear you, right? Like, he can just hear you.
Truly, I mean, really, you could just whisper. You could whisper Clark, and he'd be like, "I'm there. What's happening?"
What up? What up? I already see you. What's going on?
All right, there's a million more, so you gotta check those out on your own time, Justin. But those were
no, that's fine. And I think it's great that Leslie Jones commented on this particular movie because I don't know her somewhat, I will say, diminished a role in the Ghostbusters movie was also very sad. So yeah, it's funny that she would be commenting on this film. This is
all right. So we got two clips left. One is a TikTok trend. We're not going to show all of them. We're going to show one of the more popular ones. So you'll know it when you see it.
Yes.
Oh gosh.
Oh my god.
Every
it's like
time
watching a
she
Christopher
comes on
Nolan
screen.
movie.
We get music
I mean,
for everything. She just shows up, and here comes the theme song.
Yep.
All right, and our
what was the other
last
one,
one is it's a TikTok, but it's a tweet they TikToked, so it's really a tweet.
Okay.
And they put the X-Files music under it too.
So Wonder Woman.
can't.
Wait, hold on. Show it again. I wait. So Wonder Woman was around during the slavery. Thank you.
She's 2,000 years old, and she said, "I'm gonna mind my white business."
Yep, that's exactly
That's what
what I'm.
happened, I
Hey,
guess.
I just had ice cream for the other day. Okay, right? Remember that scene? Right? It's just like I'm focused on that. It's not cool. That
Whew.
is great. That was, you know what? Thank you. That was a great one to end on. And with that last meme or TikTok, that brings us to the end of the show, everybody. Once again, this has been the Chitlin Circuit. So we want to send a big thank you. We want to clap. Thank you so much for joining us, KB. Was there anything else you wanted more to say to the people out there?
Well, thank you again for having me on this episode. It was so much fun. I mean, we'll definitely have to do it again soon. But for now, if you guys are interested in more superhero content, you can check out my show along with my co host, Yel Teagle, called Super Lady Hero Hour every Wednesday on Fanversation. And we talk about everything superhero. That's news, that's TV shows, that's films. We actually have our own review of Zack Snyder's Justice League up now. And also, if you are interested in just more TV and film criticism podcasts, please check out the Color Grade podcast. I am the host, and we are on all of your preferred podcasting networks. So download and listen. Talk about everything. Right now I'm recording some stuff from South by Southwest, but we talk about some dynamic films like Time, some TV shows that surprised us like Saved by the Bell, and everything just from a Black and brown perspective. So check it out there. And thank you again.
Yeah, thank you again, once again for joining us. And this has been a live stream from the Chitlin Circuit. We will see you guys next time, and we are out.